Hello YouTube, it's me Tifo Wilderness. Welcome to my channel and welcome to this month's end of month bot haul, the bot haul for February 2021. So I've got this month I've got a somewhat modest haul of 9 items, 8 of which are bots and 1 is something different. So we'll get into that as we go through the haul. Now I'd like to say up front, this video nearly got completely screwed up by Amazon because a bot I pre-ordered from Amazon, I think it was it the back end of last month or was it the beginning of this month? Anyway, whatever it is, it was a bot that wasn't due to get released until they said the 2nd or 3rd of March. They got it in early and they decided they were going to deliver it today, which is Sunday the 28th. And as I'd already done a lot of the prep work for this video already, I'd already done the thumbnail, which you've seen at the front of the video. I'd already done my gallery at the end of the video, and I was just waiting to sit down and actually sit and record it. They said they were going to deliver it by 10 PM tonight. And I waited and waited and waited until about 2:30 in the afternoon, and it hadn't been sent out for delivery, so I went on to Amazon and I rescheduled the delivery for later this week. So hopefully it'll be arriving by Wednesday, which is a much more reasonable time. And that way it becomes part of next month's haul rather than me having to run around at the last minute and make the necessary changes to this video in order to get this out by midnight. I'm kind of happy that I made the choice to do that. Anyway, so got a bunch of bots to show you that I've bought. I've also got in front of me, I've got a load of what I refer to as prop bots or bots I want to use for comparisons throughout to go alongside other things that I've bought this month. So yeah, I've got a bunch of those, but as I've only got 9 items, and hopefully I'll be able to get this video done in under an hour, hopefully under 45 minutes. But let's have a go, shall we? So anyway, first of the month, I placed a bunch of orders. As I'm running to this £300 a month budget this year, I spent nearly 200 quid on Monday the 1st, and spent nearly 200 quid, and which means I didn't have a lot of money left over to buy much else. I had about just over 100 quid left in my budget. And then on the 3rd, which was a Wednesday of February, I received an email notification from Kapow basically saying that they'd got a bot in stock which I had been after, which was that I really wanted, and would I like to buy it? And it was Mastermind Creations Reformatted R43 Moors. They're the MMC's DJD figure, the final figure that I haven't got to complete the set. And Kapow had miraculously got some in stock, and they said, would I want to buy it for 180 quid? And it was like, I gotta have it. It's sub 200 quid because the scalper price on this thing is, you're talking 230, 260 quid. So yeah, I went for it. Now, in buying this expensive bot on the 3rd meant that I didn't have enough money left in my budget to pay for it. So I've implemented this extra ruling mechanic for my bot buying this year, whereby if throughout the course of a month I see a bot that I want to buy, that's over 100 quid, that's going to impact my budget considerably, then I can buy that bot independently of my bot budget by transferring some money out of my TF Nation account to pay for it. Now, my TF Nation account, I have a separate account in a different building society where I pay. I've got a standing order, £50 a month goes into it, and that little pot of money builds up, and it's ready to go come TF Nation. Now, obviously, last year TF Nation got cancelled because of the COVID crisis, so there was a glut of money in this account, over £1,000. So I drew the 180 quid out, transferred it into my current account, and then paid for this expensive bot. And it arrived on the 6th. Now, I did an unboxing video on it, and here he is. I finally got him. Mastermind Creations Moors, or their IDW chug scale representation of Helix. Yeah, and he's big, he's heavy, he's chunky. You know, I finally got him. I've completed the MMC DJD set. Had a hell of a job getting hold of one of these. The main reason being is that this figure came out last year. Due to the COVID crisis, the initial production run of these, Mastermind Creations was unable to make enough of them to go around. And as I understand it, they didn't make enough to satisfy all the pre-orders that had gone in for this figure, due to production difficulties brought on by the COVID crisis, probably shortage of materials and staffing issues at the factory. So they didn't make enough of them to go around. There was a global shortage of these, and I didn't pre-order this at the beginning like I should have done. When the original pre-order price for this was $169.99 with Kapow. But when I went to do that pre-order, I was going to do a pre-order deposit where you pay a small amount and you pay the balance later on. But of course, because of a quirk of Kapow's pre-ordering system, or their ordering system in general, any orders under £100 automatically get charged shipping, and so they wanted to charge me shipping on a pre-order deposit, and it's like, oh, no way, Jose, I'm not doing that, so I quit out of it. Little did I know, if I'd have gone down to the bottom of the email and read the small print at the bottom of the email, it would have said that yes, you have to pay the shipping fee up front, but this is all taken into account when you make your balance payment, so you don't actually pay the shipping. It's all taken into account when you pay your final balance payment, and you needn't worry about it. So yeah, I didn't pre-order one of these, and then it sold out, and then next thing you know, scalpers have got hold of them, like I said, asking way over 200 quid for them, 230, 240, 250, 60 quid plus postage, and I wasn't prepared to pay that. So Kapow somehow got some of these in stock. I don't know how it happened. The only thing I can think of is that they got a delayed shipment of these that came in, so they had enough to finish off their pre-orders, and they threw the extras out. I mean, like I said, I had an email notification with Kapow to let me know when they got these back in stock, and that's what I got. And when I actually clicked on the link, it took me to the item, but I realised, hang on a minute, am I logged into my account? So I had to come back out and then log back in, and then I had to search through all the reams of pages of items to go to the Mastermind Creations section, then go down, get to this guy. It said it was out of stock, but when you clicked on it and went on it, it said it was in stock, but at a slightly more expensive price than the original pre-order price they had it for. It was £10 dearer. But, it's under 200 quid, and boom, I bought it and got it a couple of days later. Like I said, big, heavy, chunky bot. Needed it to complete my my DJD set. It's got a very, very sort of good, intuitive transformation. The only worry, it hasn't got much in the way of ankle tilts, which for a big, heavy, expensive bot like this, you'd expect it to have, better ankle tilts than that. But apart from that, mine's also got a few minor QC issues on it. It's got like, I don't know whether you can see it. There's a paint splodge on there, paint blemish, and there's also some slightly ugly sprue marks where they've cut the parts off the sprues around and about. But apart from that, he's a big heavy bot. I really, really wanted this guy. Managed to get him for the price that I was willing to pay. And yeah, so I've finally completed my Chug Scale Mastermind Creations, DJD figure set. I've got all 7 members. I've got the Iron Factory ones as well, so got all of those. So that was a little off my mind, because I was worried about how I was going to get hold of one of these, because like I said, there was a world shortage of them, and there wasn't enough of them made to go around with the first shipment. Whether Mastermind Creations did started doing, they said they were going to do a second shipment of them, and maybe that's what Kapow got in. I don't know how Kapow got hold of more of these, but they did, and I managed to get one, and there we go. So, first item to arrive this month was MMC Reformatted R34 Moors. So yeah, got hold of him. And the same day, another package arrived, because when I got home there was actually 2 packages waiting for me. And the other one is a pre-order I placed, I think it was in December, with TFS Direct. No, not TFS Direct. TFS Express. Sorry, I'm getting confused with TF Direct. Yeah, placed an order with them for a couple of items on pre-order. And this one arrived. Now, you've probably seen reviews of this thing going around. from a new third-party company called Lemon Tree, who like to name their third-party figures after fruits and vegetables. So we have this. Yep. Lemon Tree LT03 Purple Potato, or their Shockwave figure that turns into that ship, Galvatron's ship from Transformers the movie, which I believe is called the Revenge. I didn't actually know that, but I saw Vector Prime review of this figure, and he said he called it the Revenge, and yeah. So I managed to get hold of one of these. Right, now, looks amazing in robot mode. I mean ship mode, alt mode, sorry. Looks just like the ship that Galvatron gets given by Unicron in Transformers the movie. Looks just like it. And it transforms into Shockwave, or something that looks like Shockwave. It's my first Lemon Tree figure. It's pretty good for the most part. I mean, alt mode looks amazing, robot mode looks really good. Unfortunately, it's got a really awful transformation. Actually, over the course of the last couple of days, I've had to do the transformation backwards and forwards a couple of times, so I've got my head around it now, so I know how it works. But the first time I tried to transform it, it was a case of I was just winging it. You know, I didn't look at any instructions or any videos. I just winged it, and actually, I started it late in the evening when I was going to bed, and I managed to get the sort of the front half of the ship done, but I hadn't touched the legs. And then, like, the following day, I had to come back to it and do the legs, and the legs are an absolute arsehole. They're really, really tricky and difficult if you don't know what you're doing. They're an absolute pain in the arse to do, to, you know, collapse the legs into the aft section of the ship. So yeah, it's not fun to transform, really. But now that I've done it a couple of times, it's not so bad. Like I said, both modes are amazing. Build quality is pretty good on it. I mean, it's got a lot of metal hinges on it, ratchet joints. Even though the transformation is a bit awful and scary in places, but I've not seen any stress marks on this. It's got like these really thin sort of spikes sticking out of here, and you know, I've not broken anything on it yet, so it seems to be holding up pretty well. Instructions aren't much to write home about. You know, they've got lots of those little CGI render squares of black and white with coloured parts to show what you're moving. It's all right, but the squares are really tiny, you know, and it's difficult to make out. And they've also, in some of the images, they've omitted parts of the bot to give you a better clarity of picture, and it's like, it didn't really work. But now that I've got my head around the transformation, it's not that bad, or not as bad as I first thought, but still, it's no fun to transform this thing. It really is. So you get it in one mode and you stick it, and I'm sure most people like me have bought it for this mode, the ship mode, because it just looks so amazing. It looks absolutely awesome. And yeah, so I managed to get hold of one of these. It's an interesting piece. Be looking to see what else Lemon Tree are up to. You know, I think this is only their second release so far, but pretty cool bot. So yeah, I managed to get hold of one of them. And that arrived on the same day as Moore's, which was Monday the 8th. So, following day, another bot arrived. Done a review on him and an unbox. Have I done an unboxing on this? It doesn't matter anyway. Yeah, my KTRT bot for the month. Tobot V Leo Kaiser. Now, wanted to get this guy last year, but reasons, mostly COVID related, I didn't manage to get one. And I admit I was struggling to get hold of one this year. Now, I got this guy off 11th Street, which is a Korean website, which is kind of like Amazon, but it's Korean. I got it off there, and I'm probably going to be buying a lot of my bots through 11th Street now, because buying bots off eBay is what I usually used to do. It's just a complete and utter waste of time now. The prices have just shot up on everything. You know, a lot of the sellers are now charging shipping fees. You know, like 12, 15, 20 quid shipping fee, which previously they used to do free shipping, and it just pushes the price of everything up, and it's just, and the variety isn't there anymore like it used to be. You used to be able to get virtually the majority of the bots from all the different Korean toy lines, but now it's all like all the recent stuff and stuff that's, you know, from last year just not shown. So yeah, buying off eBay is just a mugs game now. So I'm probably going to be concentrating on 11th Street, which in itself has an increased risk of getting customs hits or fees. But this guy, strangely enough, got through intact. I ordered him on the 1st and he arrived on the 9th. And according to the shipping information, he was dispatched on the 3rd. So 6 days from Korea, and I paid under 50 quid for him. So actually, I did quite well out of this guy. Though I do think I used up all my luck as regards to, you know, buying Korean figures from 11th Street with this guy. So the next figure I buy is bound to be delayed and is going to cost me a small fortune because it's going to get a customs hit. So I've just jinxed it now. But there we go, got hold of him. He's a really cool figure. Got the usual ratitude that Korean toys have. Fairly basic articulation on this guy because he's a Tobot, you know. I mean, his head barely moves. No intermediate articulation. Restricted motion on a lot of his joints. Big chunky figure. Decent build. Awesome alt mode. Turns into like a red muscle car. Kind of like Ken Block's, you know, twin turbo unicorn Mustang. Kind of looks like that, I think. So yeah, got hold of him. He's a decent enough figure. And I'll be looking to get his Wave 1 buddy, Captain Jack, at some point later in the year, but not right now. So I got hold of him, and yep, he arrived on the 9th. So then, moving forward, right, so we're talking Monday the 15th now. Again, I think this is the third and final unboxing I did. Now, I've shown this to you in alt mode. I haven't shown you in robot mode. Now, we know just lately there's been a lot of new figures coming out, crossover figures. This is very relevant right now because I've actually picked up 2 of them this month. So yeah, in more recent times we've had Ectotron. You know, you buy it for the Ecto 1 mode and it turns into a robot. And then we got Gigawatt or Gigawatt, depending on your pronunciation, turns into the DeLorean from Back to the Future. And yeah, so they're pretty cool figures in their own right. You know, got those iconic alt modes from those, you know, awesome vehicles from those movies. But crossovers are not exactly a new thing. They've been going on for ages. Like now, if you go back a couple of, well, decade or so, Hasbro did a crossover with the Star Wars. So you had Star Wars crossovers where they took iconic vehicles from the Star Wars universe and turned them into transforming robots. Now I've got a couple of them, including this one. I've got the Snowspeeder that turned into Luke Skywalker. Yeah, I mean, look at this thing. I mean, this alt mode, again, iconic alt mode. It's a Snowspeeder from The Empire Strikes Back, my favourite Star Wars film of all time. And that iconic scene on the planet Hoth where you got the Snowspeeders attacking the attack walkers. Absolutely amazing thing. And yeah, so I managed to get this up, pick this up a few years ago from an NEC toy fair for 25 quid. And it's like, it's a completely flawless alt mode. There's no robot kibble sticking out, but it does actually transform. So if I open these panels, you can see his hips are just under there. So he does actually transform, but again, the robot mode is really shonky. It's it looks like a humanoid made out of Snowspeeder parts. You know, it doesn't really look that much like a cohesive robot. And that's the thing with these crossover figures. The alt modes look amazing, but the robot modes are absolute garbage. So, and I said to myself, you know, I don't really want to go for any more of these Star Wars crossover figures. And yet, this month, I just happened to be browsing through eBay and something cropped up and I saw that and I thought, wow, you know, does that thing transform? and it was an AT-AT walker, about a 6-inch scale AT-AT walker, from The Empire Strikes Back. And yep, I bought it. I did an unboxing video on it, and you saw me get it out, and it's at AT-AT mode. Do you want to see what the robot mode looks like? Yeah. So this is the Star Wars crossover AT-AT in his robot mode, and I don't think I've got it transformed quite right, because the original transformation, I'm not kidding you, it has the legs sticking out the back like that, and that just looks stupid. I think you can fold the backpack up in such a way that the legs, tuck down like a proper backpack, and it doesn't look quite so bad. Yes, it uses the AT-AT legs as the robot mode legs, and he's got the cockpit section, or the underside of the cockpit section of the AT-AT head as a gun, and he's supposed to be an AT-AT pilot. So that's what that's who the robot mode is supposed to be. Again, really, really shonky looking robot mode. It's got a pretty cool transformation, and you end up with that iconic alt mode. Again, it looks amazing in alt mode. It's a little AT-AT walker. It looks awesome. It's just the robot mode. So weird. They did actually 2 versions of this. They did this character, and they did a different character in a slightly different sort of like almost like a camo scheme kind of. I think it was like when the AT-AT walkers were on Endor, they had like a kind of a camo on them. I don't know, but yeah. But this just makes my point, So now that I've got the AT-AT walker, I've got the snow speeder as well. So these two kind of go together, really, even though they're not in scale. But you see my point. Yeah, crossovers. You buy them for the alt mode. You don't necessarily buy them for the robot mode. And this is just a case in point. Look at this ridiculous robot you get out of AT-AT parts. It's really, really weird. But I paid for it 17 quid off eBay, and I never even knew this thing existed until I saw it, and so I thought, yeah, that was worth getting, just for the alt mode alone. It's worth the price of admission. So I managed to get hold of him, and he arrived on the 15th. Now, this next one, about a year ago, in fact it was just under a year ago, I think it was it February the 10th last year, I cancelled my subscription for the Transformers comics with my local comic shop, Collectors Assemble in Leamington Spa. The reason being is, one, I wasn't particularly enjoying the current run of comics that I was getting at the time. That was the new rebooted IDW Transformers, what was it called? Bold New Era, which was the main Transformers line, and then they had this sub-line called Galaxies. And Galaxies is a series of small independent story arcs featuring different characters, and the first story arc they did was based on the Constructicons, who basically they were rebuilding Cybertron after the big war, and they basically rebuilt Iacon, and then they dug up the Enigma of combination and transformed into Devastator. And of course, sometimes Devastator, it used to get his brain used to get confused by the different sort of cerebral signals from the different individual bots that made him up. He went crazy and ran amok and smashed up things. And because of this, the leaders of Cybertron were a bit worried about the Constructicons. Yes, they were doing amazing work, but they were they were a risk when they transformed into Devastator. So they carted them off to some planetoid in the middle of nowhere to do some bullshit fucking reconstruction job, and they just abandoned them there, and they got a bit pissed off about it. And then these Insecticons came along and started sort of like whispering in their ears about the Decepticon cause, and then it sort of I missed out on the final issue of that run. I didn't get the final issue 4. I got the first 3 issues, and then I quit buying comics because I wasn't enjoying the current run of comics. And my comic shop, as it was, they'd recently taken over from my previous comic provider, which was Spartown Comics, which was affiliated to Comic Connections in Banbury. And Comic Connections in Banbury got took over by Collectors Assemble to become one big, sort of localized, comic chain. And when they took over my Spartan Comics collection, they failed miserably to run my subscription box properly. I mean, I used to go into the shop every week to see if they had any new comics with me, for me, and twice I went into the shop, asked them, have you got any comics in my subscription box, and they said no. I turn around, there's the latest issue of the comic on the shelf, and twice that happened. And they just my subscription just wasn't working with them, so I quit, and I walked away from IDW Comics, and I said, right, that's it, I'm not buying any more comics for now. Over the intermediate time, a few things have come out, or a few things have happened in the comic world. Most notably, they did that Transformers 86 Secrets and Lies, which was based on the original Marvel G1 comic universe. It was done by it was written by Simon Furman, artwork by Guido Guidi, and colours by Jean-Paul Vauve. So guys that I trust to do a decent job and making a good comic. Some of the legends of the Transformers comic scene all coming together, and they were doing it in the style of the Marvel G1 comics. And I got issue 0 of that, and it was really good. They sort of tied it in with the original. The start of the original Transformers story, and they tied it in with the Man of Iron story on Earth, and it was quite interesting the way Simon Furman did that. But anyway, I wanted to get those, but because of when I quit buying comics last February, then the whole COVID lockdown happened, and it really screwed up comics distribution in the UK. I don't know what it's like for the rest of the world, but I know comics were really messed up for a couple of months in the UK. Comics just were late, they didn't come out, and it took a couple of months before things got back up and running again, and by then I was well out of the loop. I went into that comic shop because they moved their comic shop from the middle of town to the bottom of town, which is closer to where I live. In fact, their comic shop is now just around the corner. And I saw that they're releasing these other comics, and I was sort of wondering what the new comics was going, what the new comics was going on like. But I was staying clear of them deliberately because I'd had my fingers burnt, so to speak, and wasn't really interested in getting any more comics. And then I'd heard that there was this, because we've got Transformers Kingdom, we've got a resurgence of Beast Wars, and then all of a sudden IDW is doing their Beast Wars comic, which is basically a retelling of the original Beast Wars saga with a few sort of, modernizations and extras thrown in for good measure. And I just so happened to see a podcast by David Kay himself, doing a podcast with the Transformissions podcast guys, and he was doing a questions and answers session. And at the end, they were talking about the new IDW comic, and David Kay himself said it was really good and well worth a pick-up. And if you're a fan of the original Beast Wars show, then you definitely need to check this comic out. And that was all I needed. So I went onto eBay and I bought issue 1. So yeah, I bought issue 1 of the IDW Beast Wars 25th anniversary comic. Yes, it's really good. Now, obviously, it's written by Eric Burnham, and the artwork is done by Josh Burcham. And so far, what we've seen in issue 1, it's a retelling of the start of Beast Wars from season 1. Basically, Megatron is talking to the Tripredacus Council. He's sent a team of guys to steal the golden disc from the Autobot archives. They've also stolen a transwarp vessel and sabotaged all the other vessels so they can escape into space and use the transwarp vessel to go back in time, fix some of the mistakes of the past, and get that victory that the Decepticons always wanted. But in order to do so, he had to basically betray the Tripredacus Council. We also find out that Megatron had another name and then decided to rename himself as Megatron. What was his name again? Galavar, that was it. Galavar. Yeah. Now, the artwork. I'm really liking Josh Bertram's artwork. It's really cool. It's very sort of blocky, angular, and scratchy, kind of like Jeff Senior's artwork back in the mid '80s. When Jeff Senior did the artwork for Target 2006, and especially that epic fight between Ultra Magnus and Galvatron. I just love that artwork. That is just the ultimate, sort of Jeff Senior artwork, and this is kind of similar to that. So I'm really on board with the artwork. They've introduced a couple of new characters for both the Predacon and the Maximal team. You've got Nyx, who turns into a flying fox, and then you've got Scold, who turns into a spiky snapping turtle type thing. Scold's head sculpt kind of looks like Tarn from the DJD. It's really, really strange. They're also both fembots, so they wanted to have some fembots in the teams at the beginning, because in the original Beast Wars, the fembots didn't really come in until late Season 1, early Season 2, so with Air Razor and Black Arachnia. So, yeah, I got this. It's very good, and like I said, it was David Kay's recommendation that made me want to jump into IDW Comics again. I'm only getting this one for now. I bought it off eBay for £5.50. Now, when I was still buying comics from my local comic shop, they were costing me £3. So there's been a massive price hike in comics over the last year. I don't know the reasons for this. There's a number of reasons why they're more expensive, but yeah, I just hope that the comics better be pretty good for me to warrant paying almost double what I was paying before for my comics. But yeah, got issue 1. Very pleased with it, very happy with it, and I'll be looking to get hold of issue 2 next month. And that arrived on the 16th. So, the next day, speaking of Beast Wars, and yeah, the Beast Wars comics. Yes, got hold of the obviously the Kingdom Beast, T-Rex Megatron from the Kingdom line. Now I got this from Comics and Cocktails, because they seemed to be, at the time, they were the only person that actually had it in stock. I mean, yeah, it was on pre-order with in demand and kapow, but they were sold out. Comics and Cocktails still had their pre-order open, and in fact, I think they had them in stock when that's right. I pre-ordered it. Sorry, I pre-ordered it, and then they got shipped out the middle of this month. So yeah, I got hold of him. $46.99 I paid for this. So most people are asking $49.99 for this guy. So I got him a couple of quid cheaper, which was really good. Fiddly transformation, especially with the backpack, and I like to think the colours on this guy are a little oversaturated as well. I mean, obviously, I said I bought some bots for comparison's sakes, but I've got the original Beast Wars Megatron, and obviously you can see a huge difference in the colour. I mean, this guy's much more paler purple than this guy. Also, the original one hasn't got all that amazing sort of paintwork on the chest. It just has a plain black chest. It also has that stupid the face mask gimmick, which is something they've fortunately haven't tried to replicate with these new figures. Yeah, I've also got, for the sake of comparison, I've got the Robot Masters one as well. So there's a comparison of him next to the Robot Masters one. Again, Robot Masters one has got a little bit more paint on it, and it's the same sort of pale purple colour, but isn't quite as such bold colouring as this guy. So he's all right. I haven't got the Masterpiece one. The Masterpiece one is, the colouring on that's more akin to this one. Haven't got it. I would like to get it, but the price it goes for, I refuse to pay that amount of money for that toy. So yeah, got hold of him. It's all right. Again, it's got slightly involves transformation. Also on the Dino mode, you know, when you bend his knees, you have these exposed sort of robot bits. Robot mode's all right. You know, he's got the T-Rex mouth with a tongue in it and a place you can peg a blast effect. I did honestly think that the kibble piece comes off his arm. I mean, the Robot Master one, you can actually take the tail piece off his arm and have like a regular arm, and I think the Masterpiece one does that as well. And looking at the way this thing is pegged in here, I thought it would unplug, but it doesn't. So that's a shame. But apart from that, he's a decent enough figure. He's got an amazing head sculpt. Looks every bit like, you know, the CGI model from the show. And yeah, so I got hold of him. He's fairly heavy, slightly complex transformation, but a decent figure nevertheless. And another figure from Kingdom Wave 1 line that I wanted to get hold of. So yeah, got hold of him. And he arrived on the 17th, and then it was a couple more days until the next couple of figures arrived. And I had at the time, how much money did I have left? Because obviously I took that money out of my TF Nation account to pay for Moors, and so I still had like 100 quid left, and I used that to buy these few other bits. And I had an option to buy, I think it was 3 Studio Series 86 Deluxes, or 1 Leader Class and 1 Deluxe. So I had a bit of a choice there. And I decided I'm going to go for the Leader Class and the Deluxe. So placed an order, and then I got a notification that another pre-ordered item that I pre-ordered from Kapow back in the last year has finally turned up as well. So, next couple of things to arrive. Speaking of crossovers, Transformers crossover Top Gun Maverick arrived. Ordered it from Kapow. I finally got them in stock. Now, yeah, I saw pictures of this figure, and I again wanted it for the alt mode. Turns into an F-14 Tomcat. Then you get the robot mode, and it's, yeah, this plastic they've used to make it out of, this pale beige translucent plastic that they've used, it just doesn't really work. I mean, there's hardly any extra colours on the robot mode. It's largely all this pale plastic, and it looks weird. It's got these very sort of sheer drain pipe like legs which look weird. The weapons that you get the 2 drop tanks and the missiles that plug into his alt mode, but the pegs are really loose and they just fall off. Head sculpt is pretty cool. It looks like Maverick's sort of fighter helmet, but you know, he's just got a red visor and a black faceplate, and even though there's plenty of moulded detail on it, can't really see much. I mean, articulation on this thing is okay, I suppose. You've got, you know, all the plain sort of, it's got this sort of dirty sort of camo design on it, that looks really weird. And I think this thing looks an awful lot like one of these, like a Valkyrie from Macross or Robotech. Well, Macross Valkyrie, the VF-1 Valkyrie. I think it looks very, very similar, and you could probably do a crossover, one of these as one of these, you know, just with a few sort of paint apps and a bit of remoulding, and you could easily turn this into one of these. I mean, this has got like the gear warp mode, and you can get a gear warp mode out of this, and the jet mode is very similar to a Valkyrie as well. So yeah, there's definitely that. You could customize one of these to look more like one of these, and I reckon that would work really well. It'd certainly look a hell of a lot better than this. So yeah, I mean, I knew what I was letting myself in for when I bought this. You know, I'd seen the pictures of it, and in hand, it's every bit as disappointing as I thought it would be. You know, these stupid sort of pale colours they've used on it, it just really doesn't work. And yeah, so I'm not going to say I regret buying it, because the plane mode's all right, but the robot mode is just why would you do a robot that looks like that, you know? So yeah, very disappointed by that, but you know, I knew what I was letting myself in for when I bought it. And then on the same day, my first Studio Series 86 figure turned up. Studio Series 86 Cup. Now, like I said, wanted to get into the Studio Series 86 line. The figures are starting to filter through now. We got the Deluxe assortment in Smiths. Leader class, well, the Voyagers aren't out yet. They haven't arrived yet in the UK, and only one supplier that I saw had the leader class in stock. But so I decided to get Cup. He's the first of the Deluxes that I've got, and yeah, he's pretty good. He's pretty cool. Haven't really got any reasons to slag on this guy. Yeah, there's a few bits that don't quite plug in properly. Transformation's a bit weird, but no, it works pretty well, and it ends up with something that looks like his alt mode from the movie. And yes, he's got that feature whereby you can pull his arms and legs off so that you can recreate that scene where he gets attacked by that giant robotic squid on the planet Quintesson, and you know, Hot Rod saves him, drags him out, and then welds him back together, and fixes that nasty burr on his rotator. Now, as this guy's got these removable limbs, I haven't actually tried this. I wonder whether these joints are compatible with the weaponizers and modulators and the fossilizers. You know, I wonder if it's the same style of joint, so you could probably use this guy as spare parts for some of your outrageous creations using those bits and pieces. He's okay, he's alright. It's got light piping, so I can see it working at the moment. He looks alright. So again, my first Studio Series 86 Deluxe. He's pretty good. Glad I got hold of him. And they arrived on the 22nd, and then finally, a couple of days later on the 24th, Studio Series 86 Leader Grimlock. Now, got this guy from Comics and Cocktails. They were the only shop that seemed to have it in stock, so I ordered it through them. Again, with $47.99, so it's under 50 quid, under the $49.99, so a couple of quid cheaper than other places might be doing the pre-orders on it. It's Grimlock. It's a large Grimlock toy. He's pretty big, though still not quite as big as my standard for leader class size figures. I mean, when we talk about leader class figures, yeah, leader class just aren't what they used to be, are they? And then, you know, obviously Grimlock's bigger than Beast Megatron by some way. He's not that far off the size of the Masterpiece, actually. And aesthetically, he kind of looks like similar to the Masterpiece. Mine has got a QC issue on it. In the back, when you open the legs and you have these little things, you pull the leg out and it's got like that little clip in there. And then when I open the other leg, you can see the clip's missing. It's just missing. The leg does kind of clip into place, especially when you shut the back of the leg up. So it doesn't really affect it that much, but still a QC issue. It's got like a little it's got like a part missing, but it's out of sight and it doesn't really affect the way the thing operates or transforms. So I'm not that bothered about it, to be honest. The other thing with this guy is wheelie. Now, comes with this dude. What can I say about wheelie? He's got fixed joint. He's only got 5 points of articulation. He's got ball jointed hips and ball jointed shoulders, and he's got a head he's got a waist joint and a head rotation. His other joints are fixed. He's got fixed leg joints, fixed fixed elbows, fixed knees, and he's meant to, as an accessory, to ride on the back of Grimlock, basically, like he did in the movie. He has a little peg in his leg, and there's a little peg on Grimlock's shoulder where he pegs in, and then he can ride up there and point his Energon catapults at people, at Sharkticons, and yeah. Transformation's pretty good. It's pretty much typical Grimlock transformation. There's a few extra sort of things that it does. I think the dino head is a little small. Personally, I think it could have done with being a little bit bigger. But apart from that, he's all right. He's okay. And so yeah, glad I got him. It's Grimlock, dude. You know, I like collecting Grimlocks. I've got a few of them. He's another one of those characters I like to collect moulds for, and yeah, got hold of him. And he was the last bot I got this month, so there we go. That's my collection for this month. Like I said, quite a varied selection of bots from various different lines, and so. Finally got that bit at the end of the month where I do my first and worst. So, fairly straightforward, this one. First and worst. It had to be Moors, really. I mean, I finally got hold of one. I was after this guy for best part of a year. He's big, he's heavy. He's got a few little issues, but apart from that, he's still... Now, I needed him to complete my DJD set, and I finally got him at a reasonable price, so I'm really, really happy with him. Very, very happy with him. And then, Maverick. Like I said, I knew what I was letting myself in for. I wanted to give it a go because it's another crossover figure, and, you know, the alt mode, it's an F-14 Tomcat, you know. I mean, the play mode's pretty good. Again, it's this plastic they used. If they'd have painted it properly, like the planes appeared in the original movie, it would have looked a lot better. But I know there was supposed to be that Maverick film that was supposed to be coming out, and I think this is supposed to be based on a plane from that film. But that release of that film has been delayed due to COVID. So yeah, there we go. He isn't as good as you think he is. It's very disappointing on the whole, and that's why he's a shoe-in for the worst thing I got this month. So that's that. Yeah, 50 minutes, and I'm all done. So not too bad, not too bad. Starts again tomorrow. Like I said, I almost had an extra thing to show you today. I'm supposed to be getting Kingdom Core Class Rat Trap from Amazon that I pre-ordered, and they said they were going to ship it, and it's supposed to be arriving later tonight, but I rescheduled the delivery for later in the week because I'd already done a lot of the prep work for this video, and it would have meant having to wait until it came in, probably later tonight sometime, and then it would have been a mad rush to get this video ready to get it uploaded and live before 12 o'clock, you know, before midnight. So didn't fancy doing that, so I decided to sit down and do this video a lot earlier, and it's all done now. So yeah, that's all it is. I've been TFL Wilderness. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you all next time. Ta-da.